Friends, welcome. Now we are going to see very interestingly what is biology, why we have to study the biology, and what are the contents are being inculcated in the biology topic. So biology, we all know bio means life, ology means study. So nothing but study of life and life forms we call it as biology, right? Next, so, why we have to study the biology? There are two important reasons for studying biology. One is biology is relevant to our everyday experience. So, like in medical advances, addressing the needs of growing the human population. Like in certain areas, the land and population ratio will be very less. There is a need for growing the population and female and male sex ratio. So, these things are also should be mandatory. We have to know the biological concepts, right? Next, challenging of decreasing the rate of biodiversity. So biodiversity means we are living in a different forms. The life will be in like human forms, animal forms, plant forms, and different forms. So in order to maintain the equilibrium with the biodiversity also, we have to study about biology. Next, biotechnological advances to reproduce many antibiotic forms, many fungal and viral resistant varieties of the crops or humans or any other different living forms. We need a biotechnology. For example, we have a DNA fingerprinting, which is a major advance for the paternity and maternity test. So this is the topic related to biotechnology. So in that case also we have to study the biology. Next, biology can be controversial in certain cases, like examples, dealing with endangered species. So we have to be very careful, like when we are studying about endangered species, like the species which are going to be so like extinct varieties, and the use of fetal tissue in biomedical research, and safety of irradiated food. In all these cases, in certain cases, not only beneficial, there are pros and cons in the biology also. And next, so what is biology? It is a study of life, and it is a branch of science, a way of understanding the nature. So, how the nature has been formed, what is life forms, how we are living, and so it was being previously. We are know that law of conservation of energy. Energy neither be created nor be destroyed, but one form of energy is always be transferred or converted into another form of energy. So, what is this whole thing we have to understand from the biology? A human endeavor. So, an attempt to understand and explain, integrate, and describe the world of living things. What is life? Living organisms, so highly organized and complex, as we all know. We have unicellular as well as multicellular, are composed of one or more cells, contain a blueprint of their characteristics, nothing but DNA, right? Acquire and use of energy. How we are acquiring the energy? For example, if we are the humans, we are acquiring the energy from the plants and animals. For example, plants. Plants are acquiring the energy from the sunlight, soil, and water, right? Next, carry out and control of numerous reactions. So, in and outside the body, we have n number of reactions. How these reactions are being carried out. For example, Krebs cycle. We know each and every enzyme, how the reaction has been takes place, how many ATP are being produced. So, in order to these things, when any organism is being metabolically active, we call it as it has the life, right? Next. So, what is the basic characteristics of a living organisms? Primarily, it has to grow. It has to maintain a constant internal environment. We also call it as homeostasis. And producing the offsprings, right? That is a very important characteristics. Respond to environmental changes. It has to acquire, adapt, survival for the fittest, right? May evolve. So these are the things which defines the life. Biology is a branch of science, both an activity and body of language. So we are studying the behavior of the dogs and everything because from the knowledge of the body and how it is being responding. So these are the examples. A way of understanding the natural world. Scientists may predict and test these predictions. For example, I am telling that bacteria will be living more in the high temperature. So that is my prediction. We have to test whether it may live or may not live. Major themes in biology are evolution by natural selection. Yeah, we all came by a natural selection only. Who are being adapted to this environmental changes, they are going to live. Who are not going to adapt to this environmental changes, they are going to die or an extinct or endangered, right? Inheritance. So inheritance means what are the characters we inherited from an evolutionary or from our parents to the offsprings. Cells, yeah, we are made up of different kinds of cells like nervous cells, heart cells. Biological classification, all the living forms has been divided based on the biological categories. Bioenergetics, how the energy is being transformed from one living form to another living form. Homeostasis, maintenance of an internal equilibrium of the reactions. Ecosystems, so forest is one type of ecosystem, right? Next, how is biology being studied? Biology can be studied in theory. So all the encrypted forms of the things of the biology are in books. So all will comes under theory forms. And explanation of that theory, testing whether it was the right or wrong, hypothesis, which is nothing but a prediction, questioning how it is being predicted, next observations. So we are going to observe in and out how it is being happening. For example, we are going to observe in a microscope how the RBC, so the because the RBC is also lack of the nucleus, right? Why it is lacking of the nucleus, all these things is being studied, analyzed, and again is results will be reported. Next, scientific method. So, what is a scientific method? It begins with the observation about the surroundings, how, when, and what it is been happening. Next, ask the question about the phenomenon, what we are observing. Next, it is being followed by generating a hypothesis or a tentative explanation to a question. For example, the frog is three-hearted. So, how it is being three-hearted? So, why? What is the reason? Scientific method. Testing. Scientists perform the test to determine the accuracy of the hypothesis, whether what we are thinking is being right or wrong. For example, I am telling that insulin is the hormone which is being responsible for intake of glucose in our blood. So we have to test whether it is right or wrong. So all the hypotheses all not been proved. Sometimes it may be a negative hypothesis or sometimes it may be a positive hypothesis also. Whatever it may be, we have to test and we have to prove the results. Next, explanation. It is a hypothesis that has been passed with widest and most comprehensive series of the test. Still, the subject has to review and for consideration. Okay, so it may be elevated to theory. So, after telling the hypothesis whether this is the so we all know that cell theory has been evolved first observing by the cork cells, and it means tell that all the living forms has been made up of cells. So now then only after testing and knowing that these are the things, then only we will come to an explanation and finally we will make a theory in the books. So these are the different scientific approaches and methods we are going to study in the biology. Let's make the biology so fun. So what? Because what we are is that what we are studying. What we are observing is that what we are studying. We have a evidence or proof in and around the world. So biology is very fun of the thing. So we are going to study each and everything line by line. So every word has a meaning. In biology, when you are studying each and every point, so try to learn what is the meaning of that word. What is the etymology? Etymology means nothing but study of that word. So we all know that all the biological terminologies is being derived from Greek and Latin. Because the Hippocrates, who is the father of medicine, is nothing but from the Greek origin. And most of the things, if you understood the Greek and Latin origins, it is very easy for you to learn the biology. So thank you. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe to my channel.